The scenery immediately puts you at ease. Grazing cattle, miles and miles of hayfields, the relief of local watering holes. But despite the beauty in every direction, occasionally God's country has to deal with the devil.
Now I look on the other side of the fence and there's my cow looking for a calf.
While Rob Bacon was checking his cattle last month, he drove up on a mound of innards.
I get out and walk down the road a little ways and found the gut pile.
In the middle of the night, his 8-month-old calf was pulled away from its mother, through the fence, and butchered.
It's pretty uncommon to find them right on the side of the road.
The local sheriff's department called Ranger John Cummings to the scene, where the only thing left is its hide.
You can see the hoofs.
And little else.
And that's a frustration on my part, and it makes it hard to solve because there's not a lot of physical evidence.
But that's nothing new for a ranger with the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association. Since 1877, they've been chasing vermin through the Wild West.
Our methods have changed, but our goal is not. We're still out there to protect the ranchers.
And just as they inspected brands back then, seen here in 1914, they still do it today.
Your brand is registered to you on one spot on the cow, and I can look in a brand book, which we'll see at my office, and I can tell who owns that brand.
John and other rangers comb auction lots across the state looking for stolen livestock.
145 here, 46 there.
In the last year, cattle prices have doubled and theft is on the rise. Rangers have to work fast because cattle move quick.
They can be here on a Monday and they can be in a feedlot by Friday in Kansas, or they can be at a slaughterhouse and going to be hamburger before the week's out.
John's jurisdiction covers all of Oklahoma.
There's times I'll drive 4 hours.
And the entire state of Texas.
We spend a lot of time in our trucks.
On this day, he's in Rogers County, helping Rob Bacon recover from a $1,000 pay cut.
All I do is cows, and that's how I feed myself.
And if he does say so himself,
do a pretty good job.
Finding a smile, even though the people who butchered his calf haven't been found.
I hope they get a bellyache for eating stealing my kid.
With all cases, persistence
Thank you.
We'll call you and let you know something.
All right.
and attention to detail are key.
Have that attitude where you refuse to fail, you know, and that's really, I don't solve every case, but I sure try to solve every case. And I take every case thinking I'm going to solve it.
Cases like the Brannons, where cattle are not just part of a food group.
Easy, Stevie.
They're pets.
You can pet her if you want. She'll just sit here and lick you. Lizzie, Amy, Katie, come here.
Michaela and her sisters spend more than 4 hours a day getting their cattle ready for the show season. Feeding, leveling their beds, and blow drying their coats.
What do you love about taking care of them and watching them grow up?
There's always something new, you know, and they all have different personalities.
Take Lacey, for example.
She was bossy.
Michaela owned Lacey for more than 10 years.
She came here and she had her first calf right out there. I saw her with that baby and I was like, oh, it's so cute.
I got called the day the cattle were located.
Last August, cattle owned by the Brannons and their friends the Blakeleys were shot with a bow and arrow. 3 of the Brannons' cows were killed. A black heifer, whitetail Clifford, and
I go, well, who was the other calf shot? You know, and he said, Lacey. And I bawled.
there were no eyewitnesses, no tire tracks, and no shoe impressions.
We didn't have a lot of things that we have at some of our crime scenes. And random shootings from the side of the road are probably one of the more difficult cases, to solve for us.
If you do have any information...
So they utilized the media, talked to neighbors, and John's employer offered reward money for anonymous tips. It worked.
We had 2 tips that pretty much named the guys who had talked about it, and also another tip who put them within a half a mile of the where the cattle were shot, shooting a bow and arrow the day of.
Trayton Vanderpool and Jared Barless confessed.
And that was purely a result of our, we weren't going to let it go.
Good old cowboy grit is still alive, and it helped Michaela
And
find
we were
closure.
I think relieved was what I felt.
That sense of relief is motivation for John as he gets back on the road, heading to his next case.
I get to meet the best people, in the state sometimes, and get to meet the worst, too, on the other end of it.